and over again how much I really liked her original topic. I can't quite remember what it was, but she stuck with her new topic. And the truth is, she's done a great job with it. And I like her new topic. And it's we're in a world today where, especially in the West, as we have more, the population is shifting to where we have a huge population of older people, especially in the West, as the life expectancy is rising. And so it's actually a quite meaningful topic, healthcare for the elderly. What Clancy would like to say is she'd like to thank God for giving me peace and perseverance, my parents for their constant support and encouragement. I would also like to thank Mr. Wade for checking and guiding me through the creation of this thesis, Mr. Christian and all the teachers that I went to who took the time to listen to my speech and offer their insights. To my panelists, thank you for taking the time to be part of the discussion. Please be kind. And finally, to my friends, knock sweet? Is that knock sweet?
Yeah.
Not sweet or knock sweet?
Not sweet.
Okay, knock sweet. Thank you for standing by me, by my side, through all the ups and downs and constantly reassuring, encouraging me to stay chill and submitting my thesis late. And Mr. Wade, please say my title with the Baymax accent, please. Okay, and so I don't know if I can do that. I'm going to try. I probably can't do that. Clancy's title is, Hello, I am Baymax. Your personal healthcare companion. The needs of physically assistive robots in nursing homes. All right, Clancy, give me a second to set up the timer, and I'll tell you when you can start. All right, you can start when you're ready.
Don't you think this world is going to end not because of a zombie apocalypse, but from a robotic invasion? That's what my friend blurted out after watching a video of Tesla's new humanoid robot. Of course, caught off guard, I replied, Oh, why so? Then she answered, with a serious look on her face, Clan, have you watched iRobot? That movie where a robot starts thinking for itself and ends up turning against human. Don't you think that can actually happen? And I must admit, for a moment, my mind went wild. What if the governments are already developing war robots in secret labs, machines that can make their own decision without human input? What if one day they decided to create their own orders? What if, with their unmatched speed, strength, and access to endless information, they decided that we humans are the problem? That little conversation, it reflects something big, a fear many people carries, that robots will one day overpower, replace, or destroy us. And while it's valid to question this advancement, it's also time we distinguish between science fiction and reality. Although robots once belonged to the realm of fiction, from the mechanical creation of Hephaestus in Greek mythology to the robotic uprising in Rossum's Universal Robot, we've long speculated intelligent machines. But fiction has become fact. Robots are no longer stories. They're stamps. They're standing upright, rolling down hospital halls, lifting patients, and delivering meals. And this transformation has sparked a competitive race in global industry, especially one of the most demanding fields, elderly care. Let's zoom in on this. The world is facing a demographic crisis. Populations are aging rapidly, birth rates are falling, and the numbers of professional caregivers simply cannot keep up. If this happens through the future, nursing homes may collapse, not from war robots, but from sheer overloads and burnout. A solution is desperately needed. A turning point emerged in the form of physically assistive robots, or PARS. And these are not your AI overlords. They are machines explicitly designed to help humans physically, to assist, support, and enhance our well-being. PARS comes in many forms and perform a wide range of physically related tasks. Some are designed for cleaning, others for deliveries, and many for mobility assistance. What makes them even more powerful is their ability to be integrated with monitoring system. For example, a robotic medical bed may contain built-in sensors that tracks heart rate, oxygen level, postures, and movement in real time. This kind of integrated monitoring system refers to inbuilt technologies that not only perform physically, but also gather, report, and interpret health data. It may sound unspecial, perhaps even simple, but when properly implemented, this kind of technology fosters a care environment that strengthens the well-being of the caregivers, the elderly residents, and the institutions alike. To be clear, this thesis does not cover the technical implementation of the robotic system or its specific models, but instead focus solely on why nursing homes should adopt physically assistive robots as part of their care system. Throughout this speech, all references to robots refers to physically assistive robots and their integrated monitoring capabilities. And you know, this isn't a futuristic fantasy. Some countries are already leading the way. Japan, Germany, Denmark, all are racing ahead, testing and integrating this system into their care. But skepticism still lingers. And I understand. I know some of you may ask, can we really trust robots with the data and lives of our loved one? Will robots replace human caregivers? What happened to privacy, ethics, and human empathy? These are valid concerns. But there are also challenges that we must confront, not avoid. Before answering, let's first examine the depth of the crisis we're facing. Most people see nursing home as peaceful retirement centers with kind nurses and bingo nights. But the truth is much harder. Imagine, a single day. Grandma Emma throws up due to recurring illness. Grandpa Don wants to take a walk but needs assistance. Mama Jilly, battling dementia, throws a tantrum requiring foods that matches her unpredictable and changing cravings. Another resident fell down the stairs. One needs treatment, and another wanders off. Caregivers are expected to handle it all. Long hours, repetitive muscular injuries, exposure to illness, burnout, emotional breakdowns contributing to rushed care tasks, neglect, and also a decline in empathy. A cycle of exhaustion, stress, and pain, leading to absenteeism, lower care quality, and even higher patient mortality. The system is stretched and snapping. Here's where physically assistive robots step in, not to replace, but to support. Let me give you a real example. A nursing home in Singapore has implemented PARS to carry linen across their wards. Previously, caregivers have to manually haul 70 heavy bags of linen up and down 7 levels of wards every day. Now an autonomous robot does the job. It carries up to 180 kilograms of linen per trip, navigates each floor precisely on schedule, saves 4,000 work hours annually, and also reduce workplace injuries by 30%. A senior nurse there said, with this system, we can give more attention to our resident. It is really convenient, it saves our time and energy, and I like how we have more time and we are less tired. As one successful CEO also said, clients do not come first. Employees come first. If you take care of your employees, they will take care of your clients. But now, let's now turn to the elderly resident. Older adults are vulnerable to injuries, neglect, and medication errors. And here's how robots are able to mitigate this. robots are able to work tirelessly, making a 34% more accuracy in routine tasks like medication administration, assisting in regular repositioning to prevent pressure ulcers, and also monitor vital signals. Take the case of a robotic medical bed with built-in sensors. It doesn't just respond to crises, it can predict them. But how reliable are these systems? Let me give you a real case. In Canada, a 6-month-old baby suffering from acute respiratory distress was saved, not because of a professional physically present, but through a robotic system. The robot led a specialist hundreds of miles away to see, diagnose, and guide the treatment team in real time. That child lived because a robot made expert care immediately accessible. Now, imagine applying this system in a nursing home. An elderly resident was having a major heart attack. Instead of waiting for a delayed ambulance or transferring the elderly to a distant hospital, a caregiver activates a remote present robot, and within minutes, a specialist appears on screen, offering clinical direction and saving the elder. In settings where urgent care and mobility challenges are common, these robots can be a real-time bridge to critical care, just like it did for the child. Lives are not just supported, they are safe. And beyond medical responsiveness, robots can protect residents in other essential ways. In many countries, there have been devastating scandals with elderly abuse in care facilities, which often stems from systemic issues like understaffing, burnout, and poor management. Families entrusted their loved ones to what they thought were safe places only to find stories of mistreatment, overlooked needs, and even physical harm. This is where physically assistive robots step in to be a critical safeguard. They don't get tired, they don't discriminate, they don't ignore cries for help. Some of these robots can record interaction 24/7, which discourages abuse, automatically log care tasks, ensuring accountability, and alerting supervisors if care routines are skipped and red flags emerge. In effect, PARs create a transparent system where every action or inaction is documented. Staffs know they're supported, but also monitored. Let me give you an analogy. You enroll your child to a notable school, but soon you see gaps, lack of attention, poor safety, even harm. The betrayal of trust and anxiety is what families feel when their elderlies are mistreated. But with robots acting as unbiased, always alert assistant, we reinforce trust and not replace it. Already, automated records and medication system have reduced prescriptions error by 50%. Now imagine combining that precision with abuse prevention. The result is not just efficiency, but dignity, safety, and peace of mind. Just as the previous quote said, if you take care of your employees, they will take care of your clients. But now, let's zoom out to the institution and the global view. In Australia, caregiving jobs have been the most in-demand list for over 5 years. The chief economist, Jared Paul, says that Australia needs 17,000 more caregivers annually to meet basic care standards. Let that sink in. Not excellent care, but basic. Across the ocean, a nursing home in Pennsylvania was forced to reduce their resident capacity, not because of funding, but because no one was applying for their caregiving roles. In contrast, Japan has taken action. They've support 30,000 care robots, used robots to assist with feeding, mobility, and reminders, found that every 10% increase in robots adoption, employment rose by 0.3%. Why? Because robots ease the burden, helping institution to retain their staff. For care institution, financial health matters, and robots are no longer futuristic luxuries, they're fiscally smart. Consider a medium-sized nursing home. They might spend $750,000 annually for 10 caregivers, and a total of $1.35 million with operational costs. Introducing physically assistive robots may require an initial investment ranging from $300 to over $100,000. At first, this may seem costly, but smart investment demands long-term thinking. Return on investment analysis helps provider to evaluate the full picture, comparing acquisition and operational costs with benefits like reduced medication errors, fewer injuries, and improved patient satisfaction. When these savings are factored in, robotic care proves not only affordable but transformative. Research by the Agency for Health, Research and Quality, OSTERTAG, and many others found that facilities saw a 2% increase in revenue, a decrease in 7% in falls injuries, 26% reduce in pressure ulcer rates, and better staff retention and efficiency. Also, don't forget, robots don't need vacation, they don't get injured, and they never call in sick. Facilities can also lease, share, or bulk purchase. Government subsidies and public-private partnership are already making robots more accessible. Beyond that, institutions can pick the robots that matches and solve their most needs. And remember, with all tech, the price drops as adoption grows. What matters isn't just the sticker price, but the long-term value as sustainability robots bring to care. And this shift doesn't erase human jobs. It expands them. With the rise of parts and monitoring system, new roles are emerging. Robot technician, data analyst, elder care technologist, active compliance officer, hybrid caregivers who coordinate human-robot teamwork, and more engineers. These are not science fiction roles. They are real, growing careers. Now let's tackle the biggest objection: data privacy, a valid concern. But parts are governed by strict international standards, including those from the International Electrotechnical Commission. Data is encrypted, securely stored, and accessed by only authorized personnel. Facilities undergo regular audits, cybersecurity check, and mandatory staff training. Still, others worry about technology failure. What if the system crashes? What if the robot malfunctions? But like any medical device, parts comes with fail-safe, manual overrides, and human supervision. If a thermometer breaks, we don't reject all tech. We repair and we regulate. The same goes for robots. With clear rules, strong oversights, and assigned responsibility, this system remains safe, trustworthy, and effective. But what about lower-scale caregivers? Won't they lose their jobs? That fear is real, but misplaced. Every time humanity faces a new tool, the steam engine, the electricity, or the internet, panic grows. And every time we adapt, we grew. Robots aren't removing people, they're removing strain. Parts allow those that struggle physically to stay longer and safer in the industry. And this also opens the door for lower skilled caregivers to upskill and become more creative. Imagine, caregivers no longer straining to lift bed, but instead, health music therapy session or memory building activities. This isn't retreat, it's evolution. As technology advances, so must we. And finally, many raise ethical concern. Robots lack empathy. True. They do not have feelings. Also true. Robots will never replace a deep hug, a warm smile, or a caring conversation. But here's the point. robots can make room for one. By handling physically demanding tasks, cars give caregivers time, the only thing elderlies need most. The time for connection, time for care, time for love. They release us to care better, deeper, and longer. And let me say this. No, we're not heading toward a robotic invasion. We're heading toward a future where robots and humans work hand in hand, where compassion is amplified, not replaced, and where our elders live not just longer lives, but better ones. It's time to change the stories. Robots aren't destroyers, they're helpers, collaborators, lifesavers. Cars don't replace humans, they empower them. They're restoring the dignity of caregivers and the well being of the elderly. They're preventing abuse, reducing errors, and increasing efficiency. They are not the end of human care. They are its support, its safeguard, its strength. Because this isn't about machines taking over. It's about machines lifting the weight so humans can do what we do best: care, connect, and love. So let's stop fearing them. Let's welcome them, guide them, use them. Let them help us become better beings and not lesser ones. And to those who still fears losing control, let this truth remain. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. We are the creators, we are the stewards. The tools serve us, not the other way around. The time is now for them and for us. Thank you.
Good job, Clancy. Our panelists today are Mr. Tony and Miss Agi. Let's have Mr. Tony go first.
Good job, Clancy.
Thank you,
Well
sir.
done with your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And I really like that you'd have done a lot of research, about this. And robots and AI has been the news. Okay, let me ask first about their topic. So you said that robot and human will be like collaborating, basically. And in the healthcare area, there are a lot of protocol, standard of safety, and so on. Is there any protocol for robots assuring their high standard service for human? Yeah. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr., for the question. Although there's limited data on the specific protocols that nursing home has implemented, but through data of their implementation, it has shown that it, instead of creating more harm, it actually makes a environment where it's more safe, convenient, and effective. And the nursing homes can adjust their protocols to match with the pick of robots, because like cars actually encompass various different types of robots, and they can create specific protocols later on that matches that intended specific robots.
Yeah. So you said that there is not enough data on this, but the let's say the result that you can see is quite good, in the implementation. Now, the next thing is how we can trust robots or AI behind it that we don't know. Like a specific robot can malfunction and so on, while the other can work very well. Can you, what do you say about that?
The robots that have been implemented in the nursing home, obviously they have gone through many tests to ensure their safety and function, and to even protect and minimize the chance of malfunction. the institution can help education to the caregivers and also routine checks and supervision to the robots.
Yeah, specifically, do you have any data on the errors like downtime, update time, whatsoever that is that robots needs?
Um, because FARS actually contains many different types of robot, so I do not have the specific data of each type of robots. And because this system is still a little being used in nursing homes, so there's not also data of the operation.
Have you find any data in different region, like different field, perhaps?
There are datas, if I'm not mistaken, there are datas from hospitals, but most of their malfunctioning is due to connection and also like screen freezes. And this normally took a short amount of time for future for regulation and maintenance.
Okay, so it's a minor, let's say minor errors or malfunctioning. Yeah,
Yeah.
very well. Now, you mentioned a little bit about the cost of a robot. Yeah, can you repeat again how much is it costs for one robot to be purchased?
The price varies, and there's from as low as $300 to like over 100,000. But there's robots below $300 as well.
Yeah, so especially let's say a standard unit, not the very low quality one, but that can help moving, transferring elderly from one place, let's say from the bed to the chair, for example, like that. What is it about? Like, how much is it cost?
If I'm not mistaken, the wearable exoskeleton is actually above 100 above $100 or
100,000 you mean, or
no
100?
100 if
Oh,
I'm not
this is
mistaken.
exoskeleton.
The wearable
The wearable. So
Yeah.
it's not automatic moving robots.
Oh no, it's a wearable robot.
Okay, so that is quite cheap, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. But then I would like to ask you your analysis that you wrote in the paper. Comparison between one robot can replace how many people and the cost effectiveness. Can you explain here?
So using robot, it can replace the physical labor of two caregivers, but that does not mean that the nursing home cut them off. So they save more monies through the reduce of injuries, and even in America, there have been 17,000 lawsuits that correlates with injuries in caregivers, and this cost them like billions of dollars. So the nursing home that implemented this robot can actually save costs over time through fewer falls, fewer injuries, more elderly satisfaction, and many more. Yeah.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony Isagi.
Hi, Clancy.
Hi, Miss.
Very well done, Clancy. I really enjoyed your presentations.
Thank you.
I really like the way you share the problem identifications and offer solutions to every problems, even like there will be this problem and then you share this one. Is very, very nice. I really like it. But I would like to ask one thing. All the data, all the examples,
Yeah.
is varied. You came across all over the world from Japan, Canada, Singapore. But do you happen to find any data from Indonesia, maybe, that have implemented this PARS in their nursing homes or maybe in the hospitals that maybe we can learn? Because as you also mentioned, educations and then exposure to it will help to make everybody be more accustomed to it so that they are going to be, which increase acceptance. So do you have them? Maybe you can share with us.
Okay. Thank you, Miss. Unfortunately, I do not have the data because I have ever searched and there's like no data about the implementation of robots in nursing homes.
So I would like to also add it. Thank you very much. Yeah, maybe it's also something that relates to our cultures. I would like also to follow up with what Mr. Tony mentioned before. It's very, very costly, right? Even though some is not. But how do you think we could start implement? Maybe you could offer suggestions on how we could start implementing those on our elderly home. What could be, stakeholders like governments, institutions, or maybe other people who can try to implement. What should they start first, and what do you think your suggestions would be?
Okay. So, in my opinion, we could start implementing the system in private nursing homes. They can start like from cleaning robots or even delivery robots that cost around 3 juta above. And from then, government can see their potential and probably then they can use it to governmental nursing homes and then create more programs like subsidies and infestations.
One last question.
Yeah.
That's only the last one. Yeah, you mentioned before that the fear is real. We human tends to be afraid that robots will one day take over our positions like that. So in elderly home as well, do you think if we improved the ratio of the staffs and then we reduce the workload by, I mean, like we have more staff and like also we have better training on them. Do you think it will be giving the similar outcomes without the technology?
I believe that we can do it, but as time goes by, the problem will reappear again. And there's been many cases where nursing homes have tried to use caregivers, but their demand is still high. So I believe that using this system can further help and make quality care even more higher.
Okay, and to make the system sustainable.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Clancy. I think that would be all from me. Maybe Mr. Tony, you would like to add, or Mr. Wade? Thank you.
All right, good job. Clancy, I have a few questions. First of all, let's just go look at the whole speech was really good, well done. The question I have is, the arguments you're making, why did you pick nursing homes? It seems like, well, maybe I have two questions. First of all, don't you think that a lot of the things you said could apply to lots of different jobs, right? Even schools, hospitals, the business down the street, even in my own home, having a PARS would be useful, right? So why? So first of all, would you say that's true?
Thank you, Mr. for the question. I chose nursing home specifically because this setting is rarely discussed in many articles or news. So I believe that this must be further even highlighted with the problems that are happening there.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of where I was going. So why nursing homes? And it seems to me that when I think of nursing homes, my image of a nursing home really is something from America, right? I see big organizations that have lots of nurses and lots of rooms and lots of modern equipment. Is there a place? Do nursing homes look like that in Indonesia as well? And can these robots immediately serve a purpose in Indonesia, or do we first need to focus on bringing up our elderly care?
So for Indonesia, the nursing home does not look like the one in America. So before implementing this system, I believe we should first create better environment and nursing home in Indonesia. Then we can slowly implement this system to them.
Okay, good. And so the question, and again, you've touched on this a little bit, but what every person who puts their parent in a nursing home has to worry about, are they going to get human attention and human touch? And I know you've mentioned this a little bit, but and you say that the robots are supposed to be support, they're not the primary thing. But if I were putting my parent in a nursing home, I would be worried that most of the day long, my mom or my dad would see Baymax not, I don't know what Baymax looks like, but I would see Baymax or a robot rather than a human smile, human warmth, human touch. And I would worry that even when I'm there in the nursing home, there would be a bit of a show put on for me to make sure I see human touch. But when I'm not there, what's happening? How do I know? How can I have confidence that nursing homes are not going to fall down the path of using robots instead of human touch and human warmth and human care?
Okay. So education is really important to assess this issue. An institution can provide education regarding the types of robot they're using, their functions, and their capabilities. Because parts, most parts are actually like mopping robots or not robots for delivery. So institution can give a like a workshop or a demonstration to the families and elderlies that actually shows human touch are still frequently done to the elders.
But isn't there something called a slippery slope, right? Where you get so used to using robots to do lots of work around the hospital, and you're constantly being pressured to reduce cost. Isn't there just that risk that we, over time, slide into this place where we're not providing enough human touch?
I believe it's not likely to go to that future because the main point and essential in a nursing home is actually care, love, and human touch. So caregivers must is already know that and actually use robots to assess other things so that they can focus on their primary job, which is caring for the elderly.
Okay. And if you were in charge of a nursing home that used robots, would it be okay with you, for example, would you promote having CCTV or something where I, as a client or someone who's got my parents, a loved one there, could look and just check and see what's happening in the building?
There's actually a robot for that. It's a telepresent robot, and nursing home. As if I myself run a nursing home, I would implement that because it's a robot that can move while having a screen. So families that is out of the nursing home can actually chat and see what their elders are doing.
Okay. And what about robots responding to human emotion? Are there robots that can do that? And in what way do they respond?
Yes, there's robot. To those robot, they are called socially assistive robot, which they assess in socially and emotionally. But these robots also comes in many forms, like there are seal-like doll robot that can help emotionally, but it cannot 100% replace and copy the human's emotion and interactions.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking over some of the questions from your peers. Do you guys have anything else over here? Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of the same kinds of questions. What if an accident does happen and a robot's involved in this accident and there's maybe a death or an unintentional injury? Who's responsible?
Okay. So that is actually a tough one to determine, and we cannot generalize it all. But so beforehand, we must have thorough we must have thorough investigation and also guidelines and protocol to ensure accountability and also oversights. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Let me see. I've got to find a couple more questions. So this is obviously something that's going to require a pretty large investment from nursing homes. And again, this is something you've mentioned before, but how do you really provide the monetary incentive, the money, the initial investment to help nursing homes, especially in a place like Indonesia, where maybe finding funding for nursing homes is kind of difficult. How do you get that incentive how do you convince people to invest in these things up front?
Sorry, mister, are you asking how to I persuade people to invest? Okay. So to do that, I would obviously give out education and information regarding the robot's capabilities and how they can actually help caregivers in much and a big way. And with that, I can touch their emotional side, like you would want what's best for your elders. And using this robot, we can provide a higher and greater quality of care from the normal nursing homes. And yes, that's it.
Okay. And one last question. Are there robots currently that can identify a person going into cardiac arrest and provide something like CPR until people get there? Or is the extent of it just to send the note that brings people here, right? You know what I'm asking?
Oh yeah, okay. There are actually already robots that help with CPR. And if I'm not mistaken, there are more robots being developed in Japan, if I'm not mistaken, that actually assess more and give out more accuracy that can detect and also do it automatically.
Okay, and do these robots look like Baymax?
No,
What does Baymax look like?
big and blobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, time is up. Thank you, Clancy. You did a great job. All right, so very good. We will meet now with panelists, parents, and friends for photos with Clancy, and then an advisor. And then after, we'll take about 5 minutes.